I bought this very, very cheap 4-pack of rulers off of Amazon, and I thought I would do a quick review and comparison with my very favorite rulers. So first of all, let's get them out of here. So this 4-pack of square up rulers was only $12, so I'm really not expecting much from them. So this is a 9.5 by 9.5, a 4.5 by 4.5, a 5.5 by 5.5, and then this is the only one that I actually wanted, and it's a 12.5 by 12.5. Apparently, it is covered in a protective film. At first, when I pulled it out, I thought they were backwards. I thought this was how it's supposed to be, and this was maybe a non-slip thingy, but apparently it is a protective film. There's also a pack of non-slip grippy things, and I've used similar products like this in the past, and they work-ish, but they're not fantastic. Wow, it is really stuck on there. I'm also noticing that there's an unpleasant odor coming up. Ugh. So that was difficult to take off, but at least it came off in one piece. So there's a pro. So as I said, I'm not really looking for very much for these because I want it specifically just as a square up ruler. So as long as the edges are accurate, which I can check real quick. So this is supposed to be 12.5 by 12.5. And it looks accurate. Okay, so that is all I really needed. But if you were going to buy these for just general crafting, take a look at how thick these lines are. Very thick. It would be hard to be accurate because your fabric could be anywhere within this very thick line. For comparison, here's my favorite rulers. They're like at least maybe less than half the width of those really thick lines. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. They're about the same thickness. I think this is just very slightly thinner than this one, which I don't think it's enough to make that big of a difference. These feel just slightly more substantial, but I don't think that really has anything to do with quality or how easy or convenient it would be to use. I think everything is very easy and legible to read if you do want to try to use it for just general cutting, but I would not recommend it. There's also these little dots in each line. I think that's to help you carry this line across. So that's helpful too, I guess. The main problem I know that I'm going to have with these rulers is the slipperiness, because obviously they came with these, so slipperiness is a problem. But I have this little hack that I want to try out that I saw a while ago, but I didn't want to sacrifice any rulers. But this is actually a duplicate ruler. So I have another 4.5 by 4.5. So I'm going to try out that hack on this ruler in my next video. So I guess the real question is, are these rulers worth your time? Are they worth the $12? And I would say yes, if you keep your expectations low, they are worth the $12. They'll be just fine if you need exactly this size for square up rulers. Exactly 4.5 by 4.5. Although, you know what I just realized? It doesn't have the diagonal that you would need for a really good square up ruler. It has these angled lines, but it would really need a diagonal line to make it really useful, I think, in my opinion. So that's interesting. So yeah, keep that in mind. My go-to is always the Quilters Select rulers. They're my absolute favorite. I'll link them in the description of this video and in the pinned comment. They're worth the money, especially for the sizes that you're using all the time. So I have a 6 by 12. I use it constantly. I have a 24 by 6. That's my other favorite one. But would I want to spend the money for a Quilter Select ruler if I'm only going to use this ruler for a couple quilts? I have a couple quilts that I want to do that I need to square up to 12.5. So I wouldn't want to spend that kind of money on this kind of thing that I'm only going to use a couple times. So in that way, it's a good deal. And personally for me, if I can use this ruler for a little guilt-free experiment that I don't know if it's going to go well or not, that's also really good value for me. Thanks for spending time with me today, quilters. If you want to support this channel and help me buy supplies and materials for future videos, please visit my Buy Me a Coffee page linked in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss upcoming videos. And I'll see you again real soon. Bye!